People live, and then people die. And if you try and define life simply under the sun, you are left frustrated, disappointed, disillusioned, and discouraged. Then he raises another question in verse 12. For who knows what is good for a man during his lifetime, the few years of his futile life? I mean, by the end of chapter 6, he is so depressed and discouraged that he just looks at life and says, you'll live a very short time, and life is pointless. Who knows what is good for me? Who knows? And then in verse 12, at the end of it, he says, for who can tell a man what will be after him? Under the sun. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice about your generation and your time. Most people today, maybe even you, have come to believe that there's no such thing as certainty. Something that can be absolutely true. With one exception. They are absolutely certain there is no certainty. And that is the moral and ethical conundrum of our day. And verse 12 at the end, that last question, is a question about certainty. Who knows what happens after we're gone? And he ends. That's it. He's done. That's one of those movies or books you read or watch, and it ends with not wrapping the story up. Not telling you the ending. That's not right. You can't do that. You've got to make the ending clear to me. You see, that's exactly the point of the preacher king in Ecclesiastes 6. He describes the human longing, the human heart longing for satisfaction and fulfillment. And he ends up by asking a question. What about here and now are you satisfied? And what about afterwards? Will you be satisfied? And it makes us start asking the question, what's missing? What am I longing for? And here's what he points us to. He points us to these two things, these two observations. First, if there is no heaven, then there is no way to escape the vanity of our existence, and nothing matters. If there is no heaven, then there is no way to escape the vanity of our existence, and nothing matters. And by the end of Ecclesiastes 6 and verse 12, you're in that position. He doesn't steer you any other way but to come to the end of chapter 6 and say, if there's nothing else, then this life is just pointless. And that's why, in our day, when we are certain, absolutely certain of no certainty, the best way to deal with life is to check out of it early. And suicides are rising around the globe at every age level because people have come to the end of Ecclesiastes 6 and said, what's the point? There's another observation. Dramatically different. If life is a short preparation, if this life is a short preparation for a long eternity, then everything matters. And there will be joy. You see, what he does in Ecclesiastes 6 is to prompt us to ask a question. As you move through Ecclesiastes 6, we discover that life disappoints us. We have disappointment with life, but it also makes me ask the question, what am I longing for? What makes life worth living? To that, Revelation 21:5 simply changes our perspective. It moves us from standing at the guardrail of the Grand Canyon, and it moves us into the air so that we have a much greater view of what's around us and going on. And in Revelation 21:5, Jesus says, "Behold, I make all things new." You see, it's in 2 Timothy 4 and James 2 and 1 Peter 5 that Jesus promises those who follow him that they will receive a crown. And it's in the Chronicles of Narnia, at the castle where Aslan dwells, that the 4 children go to meet Aslan, the great lion. And there they receive a crown with their name inscribed upon it. And Aslan says to those 4 children as they walk up to receive their crown, "You are kings and queens in Narnia. And once a king or a queen, always a king or a queen." Under the sun, life is filled with disappointments when God is never brought into the equation. Much of what you and I witness going on in our world today is the result of the dismissal of God. It's life under the sun without him. And nobody would honestly say they're enjoying life, that they like it. See, the disappointments with life, the preacher king and the writer of Ecclesiastes 6 wants us to ask is, so what will satisfy my soul? What will satisfy my soul? It was Augustine who said, "My soul is restless, wandering, searching for something that will satisfy. My soul is restless until I find my rest in thee, O God." Who knows? Most people will tell you there's no way you can know. And yet, what does God tell us? Absolutely, you can know. Absolutely, with certainty, you can know. And the hole in your heart is only filled by the one who can satisfy. Let's pray. Father, Many of us have already been down that road of struggle, that road of pursuit, of dissatisfaction and disappointment, disillusionment and discouragement. Some may be down that road already. Some may think, I'm no better off, alive or dead. And from our perspective, that would seem to be true. And Lord, that's what we need. We need someone to help us change our perspective. We need someone to fill the hole in our heart. We try all kinds of things that never work and never satisfy. And you call us to come to the living water and have our thirst satisfied. You call us to come to the person who frees us from the jail of sin and be liberated. You call us to the person who can cleanse us and heal us from our sicknesses, our diseases, the moral decay of our heart, the great physician. You call us to come and be free from that sickness of sin. We're under the constant burden of debt, of owing. And you call us to come to the one who's paid the great price. We chase and we stumble and we move around as if we are blind, and yet the one who gives us sight calls us to come to the light. So Heavenly Father, this morning I pray as only you know the hearts and souls of every person, that you would deal with us in gracious ways and bring us to the cross of our Savior, where we find contentment, relief, and satisfaction. Where we find ultimately joy and enjoyment. In Jesus' name we pray. I'll be here afterwards if you want to talk or have questions.